Hey y'all, wanted to talk to you today for a few minutes about getting over some mental blocks about what you can do and what you want to do and just doing the thing. This is about websites. Now, when I first became an herbalist, I really had no idea how much of my future life was going to be spent twiddling around with things on websites. This is not a particular skill of mine, nor is it a particular interest of mine. I did take Pascal when I was in high school. FYI, this is like a coding language. It didn't turn out to be super helpful. Has not so far turned out to be super helpful. I was actually quite good at it. But anyway, that was my last interaction with computer science, and it just hadn't occurred to me that computer stuff would be so necessary. I don't even know if it's necessary, but it's a big part of what I do now. So anyway, fast forward to me getting my first website, which is still the one that I have today, CamilleFreeman.com. I was trying to remember when I first got this, and I want to say it was in 2004 or 5 or something like that, perhaps, that I started my website. And it's been pretty much just me working on it since then. I do every now and then have somebody help me with a logo or some colors or something like that. But for the most part, it's me doing all the, posting and tweaking behind the scenes and all that stuff. And over the years, I've kind of learned a lot. For somebody who didn't have any formal training nor interest in doing this, it's just been one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, that's been a large part of how I find and interact with clients. And so it's been sort of a necessary part of my evolution. However, a lot of times I feel like I get in this place where I'm like, this is so hard. I don't want to learn this. And it's probably something that I shouldn't be doing. Somebody with more training should be doing this. And I just can't. And I have the same types of thoughts sometimes about money stuff where I'm like, I could not possibly learn about bookkeeping. Like how am I supposed to know what a profit and loss statement is, etc.? Or like, how am I supposed to know how to pay quarterly taxes? That seems like it's just beyond the level of something that I want to try to figure out. It turns out with all three of these things that, y'all, these are things that pretty normal people can figure out how to do, including you and me. Like if we can figure out how to get through our herbal training or our nutrition training, I promise that we can figure out these basic things too. It's just a matter of doing some research and finding some things out. So just to give you a little example, I was talking to my mentor and she was like, hey, listen, your website is a little bit of a Frankenstein. Which is. This is what happens when you have the same website since 2004 and you do it yourself and you don't really know what you're doing. So a lot of sort of old pages that don't exactly match the new pages and things have changed and it's just kind of a hodgepodge. And so this isn't really a problem necessarily, especially if you're just starting out. This is not my message that your website needs to be perfect and you should go through and make sure all the pages have continuity and blah, blah, blah. However, for me, at this point in my evolution, it is something that it just doesn't look super professional to have all the different pages being and it's kind of hard for people to intuitively know where to find things. So I was like, okay, I know I need to do something about this. I could hire somebody, but I don't have that budgeted for right this very second. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to either leave it alone and hope that people can muddle their way through as best they can. However, because I don't have social media, my website is even more important, I think, than somebody who's doing a lot of interacting and communicating on social. Or I could try to figure this out. And so one of my problems is that some of these pages need to be like totally overhauled. And the way that I have things set up, if I want to do that, I really need to start from scratch. And I was like, then I'm going to have to like copy all the content over and into a Google Doc or something and then like recopy it. And so I learned recently that there is a way that you can actually create kind of like a shadow site of your website. And so you make a shadow site, you make all the changes there and test them out and see if they work. And then you can push it back into your live site without hopefully messing anything up. So you don't actually totally lose everything, but you get a chance to make some major changes behind the scenes. And I was like, okay, that sounds very advanced. Like, not something that I could do. So I didn't do it for a long time. And then finally my mentor, like I said, was like, okay, Camille, this is very hodgepodge. You got to have it a little bit more cohesive. So this weekend I had a little bit of extra time, not a lot, but a little. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to look into this. So I read, I kid you not, one article from my web hosting people. And it was like, this is how you do it. And I was like, okay, well, that actually doesn't seem that hard. I did it. It was like one click to make the shadow site. I made some changes. That was a little bit longer, but I did it. And then it was one click to push it back. And it worked. I was like, whoa, it was like a big achievement for me. So my point of this is not that you necessarily need to know how to do this or that you should be updating your website. My point of this is really just that if there's something that feels like I couldn't learn this or I don't really want to learn this, sometimes it just only takes a few minutes. It only takes a few minutes to just read about it. There are people who actually know what they're doing that take the time to write it out step by step and tell you, here's how you do it. Out of the goodness of their hearts. That's just like out there on the internet for you to figure this out. So, if there's something that you've been putting off a little bit, maybe now's the time to poke around and see if it's actually not that bad for you to do it. Okay, that's my little thought for the day. I hope that was helpful for some of you. If not, I'll check you next time and hope you have a great day. Happy Monday.